it's Kyle, and today I'm in Guthrie, Oklahoma, and I'm just going to kind of drive around and look at kind of the historic buildings that are around here, as well as kind of just talk about them a little bit. I don't know too much, but a lot of these buildings are historic, and it's kind of a cool town. If you live in Oklahoma City and have never been here, I would suggest visiting. It's kind of a cool place to spend a Saturday or something. But yeah, we're gonna start off here. So it actually snowed last night for the first time in a while. So it's all nice and snowy. So the population of Guthrie right now is about 11,000 people. It really hasn't changed much over like the past 100 years. It's really just been around 10, 11,000 the whole time. It was incorporated in 1889 with the land run, of course, and was Oklahoma's first capital until they moved it to Oklahoma City. It was our territorial capital and then also our state capital for, I think, 2 or 3 years. But here's kind of our first place that I kind of wanted to point out was the Scottish Rite Masonic Temple. I think it's the largest building in the town of Guthrie. Surprisingly, even though it looks like the Capitol building, it actually wasn't. And now it's kind of just like a museum. It's very pretty inside. We'll go turn left here so we can kind of get a frontal view of it. This is what it looks like from the front. So it does look a lot like a Capitol building, but this actually wasn't the Capitol. I don't know if they actually really had a Capitol building here because it was moved to Oklahoma City so quickly. And now we are going to head kind of downtown. I guess this is kind of on the east side of town. So now we're on Oklahoma Avenue, which is like the main east-west street. And so yeah, there's been a lot of movies filmed here. It's a very popular place just because it looks exactly like it did, 100 years ago, even more now. And so a lot of places have filmed here. One of the more notable ones being Rain Man. There's a scene filmed here where he's crossing the street in downtown Guthrie, and I don't know if you've seen it. You can probably rewatch it and figure out where it is. But so this is the Oklahoma Territorial Museum. It just kind of is like a land run type museum, just showing some of our early history. But like I said, mainly the land run. So we're coming up on the downtown part of Guthrie. They repaved their streets, or some of them, with the money from tax revenue of the Lazy E Arena, which I think is crazy that they make enough tax revenue. I think it was like $17 million in the past year. So the street that we're coming up on is US 77. They have a little bike store here, which is where I bought my bike. Kind of the old-timey lights as well. The ones you see in the Cars movie, I guess, would be the first thing that comes to mind. Here is the downtown area. Looks like we're gonna get stopped at this light. This is the main street in and out of Guthrie that connects to Interstate 35. Division Street here. So it's a very Victorian style town, and it was very heavily Victorian, like as far as rules and stuff. That's kind of what the Territorial Museum is there for as well, kind of explaining just like the Victorian, just like how you needed to act. It's kind of interesting. I mean, that obviously it's not really a thing now as much. Kind of the Victorian, now it's more just, you know, Victorian architecture. But over the past couple years, they've made a lot of attempts to just keep the city intact and to keep it looking like it always has. And thankfully, actually for a while, it was pretty barren. Like, a lot of these buildings were empty, but in the past couple years, it started to fill back up again. A lot of new places have kind of come in, and it's okay. Some of them are like cannabis places, which is kind of weird, but as long as they're keeping upkeep on the building, that's okay. The streets are a little tight here, but I guess we'll go ahead and turn left here. So this is the post office. Nice little tree in the front with the snow on top of it. There's also a lot of murals here. Not really like newer, more just older murals from when that's how you advertised. I mean, here's, as you can see there's a Coca-Cola mural there. 5 cents, sold everywhere. That's an understatement. I don't know if that was before or after they took out the secret ingredient. There's another mural there. The secret ingredient of cocaine. Alright, so we're gonna turn left here, and here's the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Park, and then this is kind of a cool building. This is the State Capitol Publishing Museum. So, and then, I mean, obviously it wasn't a museum to begin with. It was the actual State Capitol publishing place, but they've turned it into a museum. It's pretty cool. It looks pretty much just like it did. I mean, all these abandoned buildings look exactly how they did beforehand. And they've actually kept a lot of the brick roads, as you can see. We're on one right now. They're actually really bad. I wish they didn't keep them, but they keep them for, you know, historical purposes, which is fine, I guess. So we're gonna turn back into the town, the downtown, I guess I should say. There's another brick road. Alright, so there's the Polar Theater, another popular place. I think it's a museum now. Although they might still perform a little bit there. It's kind of cool, some of the alleyways. Here's one right here. It's just very old-timey. And I guess we will go take Oklahoma down to the railroad station, which connected the towns of, you know, Guthrie and Oklahoma City before Oklahoma City became the main town, and Guthrie kind of fell out of fashion after they took someone stole the state seal and moved it to Oklahoma City, and then everyone was kind of just like, all right, fine. But anyways, this right here was the Santa Fe station. I think they've turned it into a steakhouse now, which is rather unfortunate, and I kind of wish they would just keep it as like a museum type thing. And there's the railroad. That'll go down to the one in Oklahoma City, kind of by Western and the river. It's also the one that goes through Edmond, and I guess technically, if you want to keep going, you can get to Norman, the Norman station there. And then if you continue north, you'll hit Wichita, I guess. So Guthrie's kind of an odd city in the fact that like they built it to the railroad, but then once you pass the railroad, there's just kind of nothing. As you can see here, it's just kind of flat. We're kind of in a floodplain, so that might be the reason why. This is kind of a river type area. Oh, it's very wet here. I think technically there's a small creek that flows through here, although it's kind of non-existent now. The roads are very rough. Alright, so we're going back over railroad and back into the town. And I don't suppose there's too much else. I mean, there's a lot. I could go in detail about some of the buildings, but I'd have to do a little bit more research, and it would kind of be a long video because a lot of the buildings are very significant and, you know, just historical. And then if you keep going west, you'll end up reaching West Guthrie, but there's not much there other than, you know, some homes and whatnot. So we're gonna turn back. These roads aren't very good for my car. Back on the pavement here. There's the Publishing Museum from a different perspective. Anything that I can't think of right now. I don't think I did, but I guess I'll just go ahead and, you know, drive around on all the roads that I haven't driven on so far. There's the Apothecary Gardens. There's kind of just a little garden place to hang out. We'll turn left or right, I suppose. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. This is the Drugstore Museum. I'll put some pictures in at the end of the video, but basically it's just a museum of all sorts of different medicines. A lot of like Indian medicines, like that the Indians made and sold, or the Native Americans, I suppose. You know, because this was the Native American, well, not here, but Oklahoma is the Native American Indian territory. So there's a lot of history of that here, and this is where they filmed well, actually it's down at that light, but this is where they filmed the scene for Rain Man. And if you can see at the end of the street is the Scottish Rite Masonic temple that we visited at the beginning. So yeah, I don't suppose there's much else. It's just kind of a rundown. Obviously there's a lot of stuff to do here, a lot of museums if you're like into historic stuff, but then there's also like a lot of coffee shops and restaurants and stuff that are nice if you just are from the big city, from Oklahoma City, and want to just spend a day here. It's pretty fun. And there's also a couple lakes if you want to hang out there. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this video, and I will guess I'll end it here. Thanks. Bye.